If you want to create a smooth and premium experience for your app, it all starts with the launch screen. It's the first thing that users see, and it sets the tone for your entire app. At our previous startup, my co-founder and I worked with luxury companies such as LVMH, Kering, and Cartier to build apps for them. And in this video, we're going to show you how we created a high-end launch screen to impress these top-tier clients using Figma and SwiftUI. By the end, you'll know how to give a premium and professional feel to your app.
Hey guys, I'm Jade. I am in charge of the UI UX design for our software. I'm just here to quickly walk you guys over frame by frame how the splash screen was designed and kind of let you guys know also the inspiration that was used to make our specific splash screen, because I think it is quite unique. The main idea was that we wanted users to enter the app and really enjoy an experience of entering the app rather than for it to be very abrupt. One place I did take inspiration, it was actually from the Vogue Runway app. If you go on, I'll show you guys on the screen as well. Basically, there is an entry animation, and that's where initially the idea for our splash screen came from. I tried to mimic and take elements that I like about it to implement into our app. So I will actually now show you guys what it looks like when I designed the process of the splash screen to give you guys an idea of what it looks like for you as well. So here you can see this is my Figma, and basically here is broken down frame by frame of the splash screen. Basically to create the effect of like a moving image or having animations go into the frame, you do have to break it down by the frame. Julian will go over how that's done on your guys' end a bit later, but on my end, I've just simply broken down this into a 5-frame process. And in Figma, you can do a prototyping process. I mean, I doubt you guys will have to use Figma, but this is what it looks like, and you can basically imitate what it would look like. Let's just play it. So you can see that there's the initial white screen, then it goes to image, then faded text, changing color in text, and then back to white, and that's basically where the login screen will load typically. To really create an illusion of entering a space, that's kind of why we layered the different processes step by step. So the white screen, then an image, then we move on to actually the name of the app, the logo. Changing color was something I wanted to do to kind of add more interesting effect to the process, and then it simply just fades out to another white screen, which allow you guys to go on to whatever it is that the next screen you want to put, which typically for an app like this would be either the home page or the logon page. And that's basically it. It's nothing too complicated from the design standpoint. I think the initial idea is just to really create an entry process to the app that is enjoyable and kind of have a slowness to it almost, to allow the person using the app to enjoy the process of getting onto the app. Hopefully this is insightful. I will pass it back to Julian to give you guys more insights.
Now that we've seen Jade's design, let's build in SwiftUI frame by frame. Now we've opened up a new project in Xcode. I've already done 3 things. I've added constants, giving the screen width and height. I recommend you use these to create a Z stack that spans the entire screen. I've added a specialty font called Playfair Display. You can download directly in Google Fonts. And I've added the background asset. I just simply call it splash screen. I'll leave a link to it in the description if you want it. First, you go to content view. We're going to remove the existing VStack, replace it for ZStack. We're going to make the ZStack span the entire screen. Ignore the safe area and make the background white. In the Z stack, we'll add 2 elements to it. The splash screen view and the welcome view. It's important we stack them like this, because the splash screen will display first and then the welcome view will come in. And welcome view is simply where you would either register or log in. And now in our view folder, the two files we just created, SplashScreenView, as well as WelcomeView. Now let's focus on the launch screen. Remove the preview. And again, I love using Z-stacks. They allow you to use the entire screen and layer, and this is very important, in order to layer all the different frames we're going to create. First, we're going to create a background view. And you'll see I'll create a new view for each frame that Jade showed, so that the transition between design and coding is as logical as possible. In the blank view. So we have these four views: background view, white logo view, black logo view, and blank view. Comment it out because we're actually going to create them one by one. So the background view, Z-stack one once again. Span the entire screen. And ignore the safe area. Now the image asset that I showed you earlier, we're going to use that now. And it was called splash screen. I'm going to make it resizable. Scale to fill. And clip it if necessary. So here, let's comment out WelcomeView for now. And let's just see what it looks like in the simulation. Here's the iPhone 15 Pro simulation. This is our app. And this is the picture that we showed earlier. Next up is going to be the white logo view. So we're going to build that. Do the same thing with the Z-stack. Span the entire width. Call it white logo view. And we're going to build a logo for Solo Studio. Center the alignment. So right now we're going to have two layers of text. One will be Solo and the other one Studio in small caps. So as I mentioned earlier, we're using our custom font called Playfair Display. And this is how you use a custom font. Make sure to spell it correctly. No, it's not going to work. We use the regular version of the font, size 80. And the size and the fonts and everything comes from Jade. She chose it in the process of designing it. And as coders, we're simply bringing it to life, which is often easier said than done. Make the font white. Same thing for Studio, but I think it's half the size, 40. Solo Studio sits not exactly in the middle, so like up the screen, but with a pad on top. And this is exactly what we're going to do. And the padding comes from, once again, Jade's design. And an easy way to make the padding adaptable so the proportions are exact is actually to take the padding Jade used for her design, take the height of the screen in her designs, take the ratio of it, and you simply apply it to the screen height of whatever device you're using right now. So this makes it adaptive, which is very important because not all your users are going to be using the same exact iPhone model. This should be good. Let's run it in the simulation. This is what you get, Solo Studio. I believe the spacing is a little bit off. Let's reduce the spacing by 10. Looks better. So you see everything is already centered here. So we don't need to use an H-stack to center everything. Now we're going to build the black logo view, which is, as you can guess, exactly the same, but black. Make it black, black here. Put it back in. And now let's see what it looks like. Exactly. And now the last one will be the blank view. As you can imagine, the blank view is literally just can be a Z stack that spans the entire screen, but only has a white background. This is important because first we're displaying, if you remember in the content view, we have in the Z stack the launch screen and then the welcome view. And so once the launch screen is finished, I want it to be a blank canvas again so that the welcome view can be displayed on top of that. So you always have the succession of launch screen and then welcome view when the user is not logged in already. Remove the image here and create background dot white. And now if we run this like this, we should just have a blank screen. Yep, exactly. Now, this is where the magic happens. The animations that you saw in Jay's design all come from the transition. And the way we time the transitions is crucial. And this was by far the hardest part to get and what makes it really premium. Transition type we're going to use is opacity. Animation. The ease in, out. Yes. And this is where we choose a duration. 0.7. So let's remove all of these. Now, we actually run into a small problem here. The fact that the app is loading and the 0.7 duration is also happening at the same time. So you kind of miss out on the animation itself. This is why we're going to do something where we're going to delay the animation start artificially. We'll do that with an if show. So we're going to create a state variable var show, which is a boolean with a default value of false. And how we delay it, sorry, I have to add these just to make sure. Background dot white. So these are not always necessary, but it's a good standard practice to make sure that everything is exactly how you want it and predictable. So this splash screen, so on appear, when the splash screen comes into play, which should be the first thing that the system tries to load, we'll give a 650 millisecond delay so that you see the transition from a white background into the asset that we had, the splash screen background that we have. Now let's see how it looks like. Much better. So we added from white screen to the background delay, and now let's continue. White logo. It's going to be actually the same transition for all of them. The only difference is going to be the duration. Here we're going to put 0.8, and it's just something we figured out with Jade to get the desired result. And we're going to add a delay because we don't want everything to be loading at the same time. Delay of 0.8. Now let's see what this looks like. Amazing. The same thing for the black logo. Add a 1.6 delay, so that the moment the white logo has finished transitioning in, the black logo starts. This is where it creates that really cool effect. Let's see if we bring it to life. Exactly. And then the last step, simply the blank view. And here we also want to add a significant delay, 3.1, so that you can see the entire animation, absorb it as a user, and then you go into the welcome view. The launch screen should appear, have all the animations, and disappear. Exactly. And now I'll also show you how to implement the welcome view, because you do have to do a special thing and show what the welcome view should look like. So put it back in here, welcome view. Remove the preview. We'll just keep the hello world, but obviously here you have your register button, login button, whatever your welcome page looks like. Use Z-stack as usual, and we're actually going to do the same thing as before with the if show statement. Add the state variable show, which is a bool, false, as a default value. So make it full screen, ignore safe area, and have the dispatch queue with this much delay. So this allows for the entire launch screen to appear, disappear, and then your welcome view will come back in. Let's see what it looks like. There you go. We'll show you in the next episode, if you want, our approach to put the welcome view. We actually use some cool technology there. Thank you all. Bye.